All right. Let's get into it. Guys. Here we go, baby. We've got the hotel music in the background. We just chilling. It's a little bit sexy as well. A little bit sexy, but also a little bit hotel lobby, you know. A little bit of both. Look, I'm in the hotel lobby. I'm sitting down. I'm waiting for Revnak's mum to come down. I'm waiting for Harrison's mum to come down. I'm going to judge who's the best. In their sparkly... Ooh, baby. This put me in the mood. All right. Let's go for... Aztec first. Now, I'm looking at them. Aztec. Nothing needs to be said about this. Most of their units, other than Arrow Knights, are all one population. You have like max population with their units. They outperform like crazy. You've got the warrior priest boom, late game warrior priests buff their units. So like imagine having 99 units that's being buffed by like 20% attack just because you have warrior priests. Like it's so like this civ is so insane. Like there's so many good things about it. I can't think of any negative. I cannot think of any negative. They are just so OP. All their units are OP. Warrior priest boom is OP. Their rush is still OP. Their hero is unbelievably tanky, really super annoying. Yeah, they just are. In my opinion, not only are they S tier, they're the best civ in the game. They are the best civ in the game. Shit eco. 10 warrior priests you can have at 5 minutes 30, Captain Marcus, okay? That's the equivalent of 20 villagers on the warrior priest, on the community plaza. There's nothing bad about their eco. They also get a 5 villager card. There is nothing bad about their eco. So Aztec, in my opinion, best civ in the game. They have answers for everything. Coyote spam is insane. Slingers, Tauntins are insane. 1.5 fire rate. Jaguars are OP early game. Like they're just crazy. They're just crazy. Let's go for USA next because this is going to be an interesting one. So they obviously got their nerf, but so they were considered the best civ in the game. After their nerf, are they now A+ or are they S tier? Now this is I would be open to debate on this one. I'm leaning more towards S, but could be A+. So the big nerf was obviously that the 5 goons now cost 600 and something coin instead of food, because they just weren't rushable because the techs were bugged. That tech was bugged and it cost food, but now it costs coin. If you rush them and they go for the greedy FF, they can be rushed. I'm getting A+s, lots of A+s, couple of S's. Like the thing is, they're not as good as Aztec. They're just not as good as Aztec. Oh, of course, Garja joins for a tier list. A+, I still think USA are very good civ. Very, very good civ. But are they S tier still? No. And purely because I think you can punish them in Age 2 now. I think you can punish them in Age 2 now. So I'm going to put A+. Brits. You guys know how I feel on this one. Brits are not as good as Aztec, but Brits are S tier. On the 1v1 ranked ladder, they pretty much have no bad matchups. Historically, they might have had 1 or 2, like Lakota. They beat top civs, like, in my opinion, they beat USA. They beat, I mean, look, they beat Dutch. They beat China. They kind of beat France. Don't know too much about the German matchup. Like they win the Sweden matchup, they win the Spain matchup like crazy. The Russia matchup's closer. They win the Portuguese matchup. You know, they win so many matchups. They are so good. There's a reason why 2 of the top 10 players right now, or 3 of the top 10 players right now, almost exclusively only play Brits. There's a reason for that. Rank 1 and 2 are Brit mains, and they almost exclusively play Brits. There's a reason why that's the case. They will claim Brits as bad just because they want to try to persuade people to think that, to give them more credibility. But there is no doubt that Brits are an S tier civ. I think they're probably the second best civ in the game right now. But they're definitely S tier. How come we're not just naming the... because the reason I'm not going A to E is because, and I should have clarified this at the start, I think Age of Empires 3 balance is really, really close right now. I think it's really, really good. I think Age of Empires 3 balance is really, really good. And I don't think there is an S to E tier. There's just not. I think there is lots. I think it's so close that it only goes from S to B, and I think you have to differentiate between the different A tiers, because I think there's upper A's and I think there's lower A's. So yeah, so I think the balance is really close, which is why we're having S A A B. China. I think China are a good civilization, but they do have lots of weaknesses. I mean, you do see China's, but you don't see that many anymore. They got nerfed and nerfed and nerfed. They don't really have a clear meta. There's so many there's kind of a few different builds with them. They've got the French consulate. They got the T export card. So I think they're probably A. I don't think they're A+. I don't think they compete with the likes of A+ tier, A+ civs, which will be USA, and the others will come on to. Like they get beat by must-cuss civs early in the game. Like I can't really. I think they're A. I think they're middle of the road. I think China are a decent civ, but I definitely think they're middle of the road. Not really much more to say than that. They've got a very strong fast fortress. They've got a very strong FI. They have the classic Chinese death ball, which if you allow them to get a certain mass of units, it feels like it's unbeatable. However, getting to that stage is not always easy. So I think we're going to leave them here. I'm just going to put my thing on at the moment. Yeah, that looks good. Okay. Where are we on to next? Dutch is an interesting one. Prior to this tier list, I always think about Dutch because I always think Dutch are a bad civ, but then I play them and I don't think they're bad at all. I think they're actually quite good. I don't think they're B. We will use B tier here. We will use the B tier, but you can probably imagine who's going in there. I think Dutch are A-. I think Dutch are A-. I don't think they're A tier. I don't think they're A+ tier. I think they're A- just because I think they're a great civ. They're still a great tournament civ as well. But they do have a couple of weaknesses, which I think put them in A-. Like there's a few high-level civs, which are played often, that Dutch just lose to. They're not really part of the TP, XP meta, which Age of Empires 3 clearly is. Age of Empires 3, the best civs in the game often get lots of XP. Dutch don't. Their banks got nerfed, so they don't give as much XP anymore. If I could buff Dutch, it would be to give them the XP back that their banks used to give, because that XP that the banks used to give got nerfed, and I think they should give that XP back again. And I think banks should give more XP when they're built. But all round, Reuters, insanely good unit. Only one pop for Dragoon, insanely good. Dutch, probably the best revolt civ in the game, by the way, as well. They have South Africa revolt, which is one of the best revolts. They have the USA overpop stuff, which I demonstrated a little while ago, which is one of the most broken builds in the game. If you get to the late game, that overpop, like 400 overpop of where they turn into the USA goons, is so broken, and I think that's almost unbeatable. So yeah, I think Dutch are a decent A tier, A- tier civ, and I think I'm happy putting them there. We got to use the slot as well. Ethiopia, I think are going to be A+ tier. I rate both the Africa civs really, really high. Debating whether putting them to S, but I don't think they're quite S tier because they did get some decent nerfs, like the Aber nerf. Okay, it wasn't that bad, but it was still a nerf. Yeah, I mean, they've got the Cannoneer stuff. They got Guess Kenyas, which I think are really good musketeer. They obviously have Shotter Warriors, which are insane. But I don't think they're on par with Aztec and Brits. Although I think they probably beat Brits. I think they beat Brits. However, I don't think they beat many other civs above them. Yeah, I'm going to put them in A+ tier. They don't beat Brit, says King of Osmane. Well, I've seen Julian destroy the best Brit players with them. But yeah, but again, I don't know enough about the matchup. So yeah, I'm going to leave them in A+ tier. Livestock booming as well. When we talk about the 1v1 ranked ladder, there's lots of maps on the ladder which have livestock on them, and obviously their civilization has a hero which is on cavalry, so it's very fast, so you can move on the map to get the livestock very, very quickly. So on the 1v1 ranked ladder, there's a lot of maps which benefit them more than it does their opponent, which gives them even more of an advantage, which makes them an even stronger civ. So A+ tier, I think. Same reason. Let's go. I'm actually gonna put Hausa above Ethiopia as well. Hausa, again, the livestock reasoning for Ethiopia. There's lots of maps with livestock. They're very, very strong. One thing with Hausa, I think it's one of the most undiscovered civs. And I said this even before we saw that crazy Chinese player do the crazy FI stuff, the fast industrial stuff recently. And one thing about this civ, which is unbelievably broken, is the Habanaya card. The Habanaya card is unbelievably broken. I've seen that card give more than 5,000 influence. That is fucking insane. Like, imagine if there was an Asian civ which had a card that could potentially give 4,000 to 5,000 export. You'd start saying something. So yeah, so I think Hausa, very, very good civ. Not S tier, again, not in the same level as Brits and Aztec, but very, very strong. Insane FI. They do have a couple of weaknesses though. Like, you can't mass musketeers without sending a card. They are rushable. But yeah, they're very, very strong. And I think that Chinese player who's dominating the ladder with them has kind of shown that as to why they're A+. So yeah, cool. Moving on to France, another interesting one. A bit of a meme at the moment. Oh, 12-10 is busted. 12-10 is busted. I think France are a solid A+ tier civ. I think that's where they've kind of always been. They haven't had many changes in DE. No like crazy changes. I think they're very, very strong. Probably better than the Africa civs, to be honest with you. 12-10, very, very quick with decent eco. They age up fast. They can apply pressure fast. They obviously have the best native builds in the game. I think France are just they can do pretty much everything in the game. They can rush, they can boom, they can turtle. They have one of the best, if not the best revolt in the game, which is the Napoleon revolt. They have the 4 Culverin card. They have they have the Ancient Regime card, which is insane. Which has that crazy XP tech, and also the crazy Royal Musketeers. They're a really, really good civilization, and I think they deserve a decent A+ tier spot. Let's go over to... Let's use the B tier. So I'm gonna go ahead and say I think the only civ in the game right now, which is B tier, is Russia. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think Russia are... I know it sounds counterintuitive to put them in B and then say that they're not a bad civ. They're not a bad civ per se, and I think they do really well versus a lot of the other civilizations in the roster. The biggest problem and the reason why Russia single-handedly are in B tier is because they have a diabolical matchup versus Ottos. And guess what? 50% of the ladder is Otto. So in the 1v1 ranked ladder, Russia they come up against Otto so many times. It's such a bad matchup. It's literally like a 7-3, 8-2 matchup. Even I beat Julian's Russia as Otto twice a couple of weeks ago. That says it all. And he's 200 plus elo than me. That says it all. So I think Russia just... Like, they do well versus Dutch. They can do well versus China. They can do well versus USA. They can do well versus France. You know, they do well versus so many civs, or do okay. But they just suck versus Otto, and Otto is like so much of the ranked ladder right now. So unfortunately, I think they just lose to that. There's a couple of other civs that they lose to as well. Yeah. So, okay. Let's go for another lower tier. Now, Aztec... sorry, not Aztec. This is Inca. So Inca is interesting because whenever you watch Osteo, the main Inca player, play the Civ, you think Inca are up here, but then when you talk to anyone else, they say, "Oh, Inca's terrible." So I have to, I can't use my bias on this one. A lot of people say Inca are bad, although they're able to get that messenger age up into age 2. They're able to get that 5 pikeman big button shipment out to deny anyone rushing them, which is an insanely strong build. I think I'm going to have to put Inca A-. They have a decent water boom, but I kind of think they just struggle too much versus like Musk Falk stuff. I think they struggle versus FF Civs as well. Again, they struggle versus Otto and Great Bombards and all that sort of stuff. So again, I think they have to go in A- and they don't have it. They do have really good ways of dealing with cannons, but I don't think they have good ways of dealing with cannons early in the game, which is what they struggle with. You don't see Inca anymore on the ladder. There's not that many Inca players out there. Jungle Bowman, kind of bad, kind of good at the same time. It's debatable, but they have the forts. They have the really late. Oh wait, my screen just froze. Oh, interesting. They still have like Chincha Brewing's a really good card. They still have monumental architecture. They still have their forts, which are insane. So they have the best forts in the game. But again, I think a lot of people would put them quite low on the ladder. So I think we're going to have to leave them on A- tier. They have had a few nerfs over the patches as well. So we'll leave them there. Okay, moving on. Let's go to the other end of the ladder. I think it's time for another S tier. And you know which S tier it's going to be. It's going to be the Ottoman, baby. I think without causing an outrage in the community, I'm going to have to put them there. I used to think they were more like an A+ tier Civ. But as I've watched more people play, they're just so good. Like they can do everything. They have the best fast fortress, the best fast industrial. They have the best turtle. They have 3 villagers. They can get like 5-6 TCs out with two factories at like 10 minutes. Like they have the Egypt Revolt, which is very strong. They just have it all. They can play H2 aggressively. They've got Janissaries Rush, which is insane. They've got Delis, which are really good. They have Abbas Gun, Abusive Guns, which is the best fucking unit in the game, hands down. It's an unbelievably broken unit. They have obviously Spahi, which is still very good. Mamelukes.
Oh, yeah.
They have the crazy church build, mosque build, mosque construction build. Yo, thanks very much for the sub, Dafuk. How you doing, good sir? There just is nothing weak about this Civ. Everything they do is insanely good. Everything they do is insanely good, and I think they deserve to be S tier. I still think they're worse than Brits and Aztec, but they are definitely an S tier civilization. How Otto not in second? I still think Brits are better than Otto. Yeah, I think that still is the case. The Brits, like, if you see the matchup, like, Brits are still just so good in that matchup. Yeah, I don't think anyone will deny Otto is S tier. All right, moving on. This could be a controversial one. Okay, guys, tell me where you think Italy are. Because this is an interesting one where Italy's kind of underplayed, but honestly, Italy could be S tier. They're definitely A+, but they could actually be S tier. What are people saying? Batu saying A+, King of Osmane saying A, Kurtaboy saying S, Just Proc A, Carbone A+, A-. I don't play the Civ very much, but the Civ is kind of insane. Like, they have the best skirmisher in the game. They have the best heavy cannon in the game. They only get 3 Culverins, but their Culverins are pretty much the best in the game. It is very rushable. Yes, it is. It is. And I think that might be the reason why I leave them in A+. I think they are probably next to USA as well. I think they're at the top of A, right next to USA. I could put Italy here. I could change that around, but USA are also very strong, so I think I'm going to leave these two in here. I think they're as good as France, and I think they're as good as the Africa civs. But I think all of these A+ tier civs are almost S tier. That goes without saying because they're an A+, but they could almost be S tier. But they are rushable. Rush shifts just, I wouldn't say rush shifts shit on Italy, but they do, like, Russia can still do well versus Italy. Russia does well versus Italy, in my opinion. So yeah, so I'll leave them an A+. But yeah, Basileia is insane. Just, you know, insane units. They get the Basilica units, which are insane, like the Papal Lancers are insane. They have the Brazil Revolt nonsense, which is broken, which can give you Papal Lancers instantly almost. But you're not seeing many people spam that on the ladder at the moment, thank God. So yeah, we'll leave them there. All right. Time for another A downwards. Let's go for Malta. Now, historically, I was prone to putting Malta almost near B, but as I've played more against Malta and seen more people play Malta, I'm inclined to actually put Malta in A tier. I think with the meta, like the 700 word into Wigner Core and obviously the German tongue, if you know how to, again, Malta aren't undiscovered, but I see many top Malta players outside of maybe the likes of Kevin actually play Malta how you're supposed to play them. And if you play them correctly, and they got crazy good eco, but if you play them properly, where you get to that mid stage of the game, you start using depots effectively. You start using the field guns, what are they called? The fixed guns. You start using their forts correctly. You get all the commandery stuff. They've got all of the commandery stuff into the Knights of Rhodes, I think it is. Is it Knights of Rhodes or one of them? Where you get like 15 fucking of their doppels, which is insane. It's such an insane age 3 card. So yeah, they have a lot going for them, and I think Malta are really, really strong, decent civ. Of course, Harrison's good at B-. People are saying A- or A. Yeah, I think if you know how to play Malta, they're very strong. But they do have weaknesses. That's why they're not higher than A. They do have weaknesses. They do struggle versus very aggressive fast fortress civs and timings. But they can rush as well. They have a really strong bow pike rush. You can TP boom with them. But obviously they have their main meta is the German tongue builds. They have order units, which are insane. Again, depots, fixed guns. If you can use commanderies effectively as well by the teleport move from them, this civ is so flexible. It is so scary. So yeah, Malta are definitely, and I think they're probably better than China. I'd put Malta at the top of A. Maybe not actually, maybe not. China's still decent. So I'm going to leave them kind of middle of the road in A. So yeah. Okay. Let's go for Sweden. Now, I think Sweden suck because whenever I play them, I suck with them. And I used to be a Sweden main. Sweden, they have the one redeeming factor that Sweden have is that they have hacker pellets, which are one of the best civs in the game. Hacker pellets are still kind of busted. However, Sweden as a civ isn't. So they still have Carolines, which are good, but they're very punishable. Sweden are very punishable. Again, they're susceptible to fast fortress builds. Light cannons, lever cannons kind of suck in small numbers. Lever cannons are really only good in big masses, but obviously they just get destroyed by things like Abbas guns, falconets, all that sort of stuff. Obviously torps. Another reason why as well is it takes such a long time for their eco to kick in because torps take like 20 seconds to build now. It slows down their age up as well, and like torp building is very punishable. They get absolutely fucking destroyed by civs like China, by civs like Hausa, by civs like Aztec, by civs like Inca, because any civ that has fast mobile siege units, like Raiders, for example, from Hausa, like Inca Pikes, like China Stepdaddies, any civ like that destroys Sweden because they can run around the map, contain Sweden, and then destroy them. And any civ that gets a strong skirm or bow in age 2 also destroys them because they only get Carolines, and the only way they can counter skirmishers realistically is lever cannons or hussars. So I think Sweden are in the same part as Dutch. I could be persuaded to put them in A, but I think they're A-, and this is a 1v1 ranked ladder. So again, because they get countered, again they get destroyed by Otto. They lose to the Brit matchup. They get destroyed by Aztec. I think I'm going to put them in A-. S tier at launch. Oh, they were busted at the beginning of the game, 100%. B tier now because they're way too slow. See, I still think they're okay. But when you play top players that know how to counter Sweden and how to play them perfectly, they feel very bad. But they do have a couple of redeeming factors. Like I said, late game Caroleans, insane. They have a decent revolt. They have, but torps always run out as well. That's another big problem. And you have to send more gold mine cards. But they do have Drabants, aka Hacker Pellets. So they are still late game Hacker Pellets are busted. If they get a certain mass of Hacker Pellets, they're unbeatable. But getting to that level is almost impossible. So I think Sweden are in the A- category. I think they're in the same boat as Dutch. Inca is just a bit of a wild card. Well, come on. There'll be lots of time for debate after this as well. Double wood factory card. So, yes, but they don't have a fast industrial, and they have to have max torps for that to work. And it's just wood. It's lots of wood, which is good, but yeah. Hackers need 100 upgrades. So hackers do need a couple of upgrades to be really, really strong, but they're still very, very good. It's more like Caroleans that need a couple of upgrades to be very strong. Okay, moving on. Let's do Spain. Good old faithful Spain. I think Spain I consider Spain and Otto on the same kind of level. Although Otto are like the easier version of Spain, I think Spain are definitely in the top echelon. I think although they get beat by Brits, for example, I think the Otto-Spain matchup is still quite close. I think the Aztec, I think Spain can win that matchup in the first 7 or 8 minutes. After that, I think they lose. The USA matchup can still be difficult because of their goons. It's a close matchup between Italy and Spain. Spain-France is close. Spain kind of beat the Africa civs, I think. Spain beat these civs. Spain beat these civs. Spain beat these civs. Spain could do pretty much everything. They even have a good H2. One of the best fortresses in the game, along with Otto. Probably better than Otto's. Again, they still have a really good fast industrial. They still have very good revolts, like Chile. But even though all revolts have been nerfed, that did hurt Spain. That did hurt Spain because the Chile revolt got nerfed quite hard. Obviously, they get shipments faster than everyone. They get 2 shipments in age 1. They get really good eco, especially with, like, Spanish gold. So they can age free and boom well, whilst also applying lots of pressure. Rodaleros, insanely good unit. They're just an insanely strong all-round unit. They get dogs. They're very difficult to rush. So what you tend to do, the way to beat Spain is you tend to kind of semi-rush. And you don't dive in, but you don't all in, but you kind of pressure them. So because they have that 6 Rodalero shipment. Was it 7 Rodaleros in age 2? Dogs, Minutemen, age up, all that sort of good stuff, timing. They're a very difficult civ to rush. I think the only civ that can really rush them successfully and take down their TC properly is Aztec. Maybe Russia in certain circumstances. So yeah, so Spain, very, very strong. Now, I'm going to do another S tier right now, and that's going to be Lakota. Another, for some reason, really underused civilization. I don't know why either, but Lakota, somewhat map dependent. They particularly thrive well on TP maps, but obviously every map in the ranked pool has TPs. But Lakota in pretty much every tournament setting do insanely well. Everyone in a tournament setting picks them as well if they know how to play them. Lakota are just so good. Like they have a 1.5 fire rate bow. Their clubmen are strong. They have a really strong H2. They don't need houses because they have max population. They obviously have bow riders, which are fucking busted. Just insane unit. 1.5 fire rate again. They have a really strong fast fortress. They have the mortar card in H4, which is insane. They have a really strong community plaza push. I actually think Lakota are better than Otto and Spain as well. I think they're next to Brits and Aztec. I really do. I think they are that good. I'm trying to think of like any weaknesses about the Civ. I mean, they're just insane. They are just like, there's nothing else to say. They are just insane. And they have some insane cards now as well. Because they
the Dutch.
Yo, DR Cruiser, how you doing, man? Thank you very much. Lakota better than Brits? I'm not sure about better than Brits. Potentially, yes. Potentially, yes. But I'm going to leave them there. Maybe actually, are they better than Brits? I don't know. Because I don't play the Civ enough. And there's not that many Lakota players in the ladder. But honestly, if you had someone like Ungers or Julian or Kevin literally just play Lakota, I think they would have like the highest elos they've ever had. Yeah. I mean, it's honestly all the War Chief Civs are insanely good, but particularly Aztec and Lakota. We've got a first-time chat from Valeni Helton. Aztec has nothing to do on top. They are just good against your playstyle. I mean, ask anyone in chat and they'll tell you Aztec are busted. And we explained why they're busted. Ethiopia better than Otto? USA, France? Nah, I don't think so. But very good, but not better. Lakota does beat Brits. Yes, that's a good point. But that doesn't necessarily make them a better all-round civilization. So I'm going to leave Lakota there. I could be persuaded to put Lakota in front of Brits. Lakota could even potentially be the best civ in the game. Like, Lakota could honestly even be the best civ in the game. I just don't see enough of them. But yeah, Lakota are insane. Where do we go next? Let's go for a lower end one. Let's go for Japan. Now, Japan... Are Japan A-? I know that I know there's going to be a lot of B tier shouts here. Are Japan B tier? They're a cool civ. They're a good civ, but again, they get countered by a lot of the top tier civs. I think they might be B. You know, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of reasons why they're in A-. But like honestly, like I don't know how they're not. Yeah, they might. Garja, I might actually agree with Garja for once. They might actually be one of the worst civs at the moment. I mean, if this was a team game tier list, they'd be S+. But 1v1, I actually think they're B tier. I think it's interchangeable between Russia and China. Again, an okay tournament setting civilization in certain counters on certain maps. But again, we're in the TP meta at the moment. And Japan, unfortunately, don't have... They do have the Spanish consulate build, which I think is their best build. And you see Piro do it a lot. And they have some really cool builds. But again, they're very punishable. I can't really think of redeeming factors. I mean, obviously they have Ashigaris are very good. I think they're better than Russia. I'm going to put them better than Russia. Japan isn't that bad. Izad saying Japan J tier. I'm gonna leave them in here. I'm gonna leave them in B tier. They just get countered by too many civs. Like they get countered by pretty much they get beat by every civ here. They do well versus these civs. They can do well versus certain civs, but if you know how to play against them, if you can contain them very well, they're just easy to beat. They struggle. Ironically, they struggle versus falconets, even though they have flaming arrows and the Yabusames. Or yeah, is it Yamabushis or the Yabusame? I think it's the Yabusames. I think they struggle versus Fast Fortress stuff. They just suck versus Spain FF, Otto FF, Lakota Rush, USA FF. They just kind of suck versus all that. So yeah, we'll leave them in B tier. I honestly didn't think we was going to have more than one B tier this tier list, but hey, here we are. Let's go for Mexico. This is an interesting one. I think Mexico are a really good civ. This is a civ which is Mexico is basically the DE version of France. They can do everything really well, but they're a DE version of them. They have really good revolts. They have decent eco. They have skirmishes in Age 2, really good pikes in Age 2, really good cav, really good Age 2 revolts. Really good Age 4 revolts. Their Age 3 revolts aren't that good anymore, but they still have a Rio Grande revolt, which can work in certain circumstances. Again, good on livestock maps because they benefit from livestock with their Hacienda. I just don't see many weaknesses to the civ at all, and for that reason, I'm going to put them in A+ tier civ. They are as good as every civilization here. Like, I don't think they're as good as the S tier civs, but because their skirmishes are quite expensive and they're not quite as much range, for example. That might be one weakness, is their skirmishes. Although they can stealth, that's not great. It takes a couple of cards for their skirmishes to be really, really good. Soul Daddy's very, very good, but 2 pop and very expensive, so that's one kind of ish downside. But they have very high tempo, very good eco. On a map that gives you the Ethiopia natives, or the natives that give you the Red Sea wagon trade. They can use that to get 2 haciendas, which is worth equivalent to 1,200 resources. You pair that with Taxcala, that's an extra 4 villagers. Like they're on certain maps, they're on certain native maps, they're very, very strong, and that was just one example. So Mexico, A+ tier, very, very good civilization. I don't think anyone could disagree with that. They're not as good as these civs, but they're definitely a very, very good civ. Very little weaknesses from Mexico. No weaknesses at all, pretty much. And yeah, they can boom, they can rush, they can revolt, all that sort of good stuff. It's better than most of A+. I'm not sure about that, but I'll leave them there for the moment. Let's go for India. I can see some people talking about India. I've always considered India a middle-of-the-road civ. I definitely think they're better than these civs, but are they as good as these civs? I'm going to say no. Again, India, not in the XP meta, but very good scaling civ. They've got fortress builds these days, and they have like some of the best fortress cards in the game. Like, they have insane fortress cards. Sepoy is still very good because they have a high attack rate. But they did get nerfed, I think, and rightly so. They have Rajputs, which is a very good, strong early game unit. They obviously have the Ottoman consulate stuff for either pushing or booming. They have good wanders. They benefit on livestock maps. Yeah, I mean, they do have weaknesses like Malta, like China in A tier. And they probably do lose to most of the civs above them, but I think they beat the civs below them, and I think, especially on certain maps with lots of livestock, they're very, very good. They got very, very good heroes. They get very good skirmishes in Age 2. They get cavalry in Age 2. They get goons in Age 2. They can TP boom. They can just scale boom. Foreign logging boom. They have siege elephants, which are insane. They have mahouts, which in certain circumstances are very good. They have Urumi, which are insane. Yeah, I think they're probably at the top of A tier. That's where I'm going to put them. I'm going to put them at the top of A tier. I think India are just a very solid all-round civ, and I think they are literally the definition of like in the middle of where balance is and should be. Let's go for Germany. Now, this could be another controversial one, but Germany, I'm going to put in A+ tier. I mean, is there a lot of people in the chat that are going to say that they're S tier? Is there a lot of people in the chat that would say Germany are S tier? I'm looking at the top level of the top German players. Like, I mean, who we got in chat? I saw Kurteboy is a very strong German. King of Osmane is a German player. Like, where would you put Germany? Lots of A+. Lots of A+. They're probably one of the best A+ tier civs in the game, because their fortress, like unit shipments are just well, they're the best in the game because they get free Ulons with each shipment. So they are just insane. Yes, they don't get TPs and XP as much, but that is the XP that they don't get compared to other civs, and their XP curvature is higher. But it's kind of I don't know how to explain it, but that can get negated very heavily by the free Ulons that they get. So the free Ulons that they get can be used for extra XP. For example, early game, getting very heavy treasures, whether that be XP treasures or just killing treasure guardians. Those extra Ulons can obviously be used to fight, to kill other units. So you can apply more pressure. And that means killing more units, which means getting more XP. So although, yes, they don't get as much XP, their XP curvature is higher, purely because their shipments are better than other people's shipments because they get free cav. That free cav is used towards more XP, if that makes sense. So it's kind of a snowball effect there. But yeah, they are an insanely strong civ. They can do well, and this is a civ which can do well against every civ. I don't think they have very many weaknesses. Even the Spain matchup, which historically they have lost, I still think they can do quite well in. But yeah, so Germany, very, very strong civ, A+ tier. Merc builds, they have like the best Merc builds in the game as well. Thanks, Linus, for putting the petition link. Portugal. You know how I feel about Portugal. I think Portugal are here. But I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for that. So I'm going to have to concede and put them in A+ tier. Portugal are insanely good. They are the best scaling civ in the game. They were historically one of the one civs that didn't get villager shipments. The reason why they didn't get villager shipments pre-DE was because they get extra TCs. Now, that meant that it slowed them down, but they would be a better mid to late game civ. Now, with the introduction of Fatorius, that completely threw out that whole rule about ports not getting free villagers. Not only do ports now get a villager shipment, but that villager shipment is now costs 0 pop. So they can now go to 10-10 with an insane age up with villagers, with an extra villager because of Fatorius, and they can get into age 3 before 6 minutes. With free TCs, that makes Fatorius better than free villagers, by the way, because Fatorius is about a villager and a half per TC. Or maybe it's like a villager, just over a villager. Izad saying, but Chef 2200 with ports only must be broken. Well, yeah, exactly. Because when he played other civs, he went down to 1900. Listen to your heart line. My heart is that Portugal are S tier. But I'm not seeing a lot of people agree with me. So, and again, I don't want this to be a biased one because this is potentially the last tier list ever. So they're not rushable. They have 3 organ guns, which is fucking insane. An insane card. They have an insane age up. They can apply pressure considering they're supposed to be an eco civ, and they can have free TCs at around the 6 to 7 to 8 minute mark whilst doing all of that stuff. Depressing thought that this is the last tier list ever. Yeah, I know, right? Well, meta's changed, so you know, you never know. Fuck it, put everything in tier list. And I don't want to put everything in S tier. That's another thing I don't want to do. I don't want to put everything in S tier. Because I know the likes of Julian and other top players wouldn't put ports there. Where's Shake, the only relevant opinion? Ungers, give me your take on where Portugal, serious take, 5 seconds, go. Where would you put ports? Where is Julian at the moment? I have no idea. Minimalt saying top of A+. Should we put them right next to Germany? I think that's a good place to put them, right? Okay. I'll leave ports there because I know there's not going to be enough people that will agree that they're an S tier. Personally, I think they are S tier. However, I want this to be not biased. And I think people will be happy to see them there. Okay. Right. The only other Civ to go over next is Haudenosaunee. Now, this is another interesting one. Haudenosaunee, I think, on water maps is A+ to S. But on land maps, I think they're just a solid A. But they can still TP boom. So, ports is a trauma to line. Yeah, 100%. Now, I think Haudenosaunee are a solid Civ. I think they can do a really good rush. They can boom well. On water maps, they're really, really good because they can boom really well. And they can also rush. They obviously are a War Chief Civ, so they have Community Plaza stuff. They have the best artillery in the game, but obviously it's only accessible in Age 4. They have one of the best goons in the game. They have Forest Prowlers, which are very, very strong. I think Haudenosaunee have to go in the A+ tier. They have a very good hero. Downsides, obviously, they do struggle versus artillery in early Age 3. Even though they have goons with an extra bonus versus artillery themselves, obviously they still have to get in range and distance and shoot falconets, which is difficult. They don't get culverins, but they get the best artillery in Age 4, so that's the drawback. Good TP booming Civ, good rush Civ. Got a decent fortress build. They get 5 villager shipment. They get Kanye West, and they get a 4 Kanye West shipment in Age 2, which is insane. They get Aenas, which are really, really good because they're a 1.5 fire rate of fire unit, and they only cost food. Again, one of the other drawbacks, though, is that they have the worst musketeer in the game. Tomahawks are the worst musketeer in the game. So that's another drawback. However, you don't usually go Tomahawks after Age 2 because you just make goons, which they have one of the best goons in the game. It's one of the only civs with a positive win rate across the ladder of all Elos. Interesting. I don't tend to listen to that too much, though, because there's too much that can sway that. However, there is useful information to be had with the statistics. However, whenever you look at the statistic, unlike the win % ratio, all of that information is quantitative information, not qualitative information. And there's no correlation. Sometimes there's a correlation. Sometimes there's a correlation between quantitative and qualitative, but a lot of the time there isn't. Most of the time there isn't. So yeah, so where would Haudenosaunee go in here? I think they're at the bottom of A+. I think are they better than Mexico? Probably quite close. Are they better than the Africa civs? I don't think so, no. Are they better than these? The top of A+ tier civs are very close to being S tier civs. And there you have it, guys. There you have it. There's my tier list. And I think that's quite well balanced. I think that's quite well balanced. Again, some people might say, there's too many in S tier. But the way you have to look at this tier list is that there's S, 3 different A's and a B, which shows how close the balance is in this game. And even Russia or Japan can beat these civs, even at the highest levels. I've seen it happen. So the game, the tier list, it's not like these two have unwinnable matchups against any of the S tier civs. Like, Russia can beat Aztec, Russia can beat Brits, Russia can beat Lakota. The only civ Russia can't beat is Otto, and maybe Spain. But other than Spain and Otto, Russia can do well. Japan certainly can beat any of those civs as well. There's a lot of A+, which I think is where A+ and A is like where the best middle ground is of where the balance should be. It should be between A+ and A. And obviously that's where the majority of the civs are. S tier civs are just a bit better than A+. They have to have a better than A+. Let's get rid of that. The hotel music's been really good up until that ad right there. Now I'm happy to open it to a little bit of debate, and maybe we could have a little bit of movement, but that, I think, is pretty damn accurate, to be honest with you. You could get rid of... See, the thing is, you could get rid of A+ and A- and just put all of the A and A- in a B tier. But again, I don't think there is such a thing as a C tier, so I wouldn't do that. So that's why I've done this tier list in this thing. The music link is just literally hotel lobby music, background music on YouTube. I'm swallowing my pride and following. Go on, Callan. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think, Callan. I want your honest opinion, guys. I want your honest opinion. Mexico is the most contentious, I think. Really? Interesting, Henry Knox. Where would you put them, Henry? Welcome to the party of no integrity. Put ports in S, what the hell? Yeah, I mean, I want to put Portugal in S, but I don't think there'll be enough people that agree with me. There is no C tier, that's correct. Totally agree. China and Mexico higher. I don't think China are as good as the likes of Germany, USA, ports, Italy. China are not that good. Every A+ tier civ is very good. A+ tier civs can beat S tier civs. You know, they have like even matchups almost. Hi from Russia. How you going, Tem Casa? First time chat, make yourself at home, buddy. Is Japan just played poorly? No, a lot of top players actually play Japan, and they still do. Aztec is surprising. Interesting. Tell me a downside to play to Aztec. Tell me one downside to Aztec. Ports S, beat Blackburn, Otto, and Tab Sweden, of course. Well done, Harrison. Otto also annoying for Aztecs. Yes and no. People are just Aztec haters. Okay. I think, I mean, there's some people with slightly different discussions and stuff like that, but honestly, it's looking like a lot of you kind of agree. Otto and Spain higher. Otto and Spain are very good, but they're not better than Lakota, Brits, or Aztec. Otto on sea is Braxiv, 100%. But I think Otto on land is probably an A+, but on water they're S, so put somewhere in the middle. I think Otto and Spain have to be A+. Nah, I think they're better than A+ tier civs. Only just, though, and only in certain circumstances. Like is Spain better than USA? It's close, man. It's close, but... Okay. Toblerone giving me some positive feedback. They're all in the right tiers, just different places. See, the thing is, that's good. You know, as long as we can agree on the tiers, that's good. Vertically, we got it, but horizontally, obviously, people are going to disagree. But I think most people would agree on 80 to 90% on the horizontal tiers. So, guys, that's my tier list. This will go on YouTube. So I will get way more hate on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, give me your honest opinions on all of this. I want to know where I have gone wrong, or where you think I've gone right, or what your thoughts are. And yeah, this may be the final tier list ever I do for Age of Empires 3. Or will it be? Or will we get DLC? Or will we get DLC? Sign the goddamn petition, bitches. Peace out.